we're going to go ahead and do a quick introduction to the pilot episode. And yeah, so my name is Branto75. I am the host of Toasty TV and the creator. This is really, really fucking bad, but whatever. We're just going to fucking roll with it. And the creator of Save My Rig. And my co-host, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, guys.
Well, that's it. So he's Spencer. He's a good buddy of mine, and we've been looking at PCs, building PCs together, and we thought we'd bring a show to you guys about improving your guys' PCs.
He got me into it. I blame him for everything.
Blame me for everything.
He forced me to do this. He's holding my cat against my will.
You know you want to.
Wilson.
You know you want to do this show. All right, so I say let's just get right into the very first PC. Now, since we don't have any submissions, we went straight to PC Part Picker and picked out 3 PCs that we wanted to take a look at and show you guys. And let's get right started. So this one is a mini ITX build on PC Part Picker, and it needs a lot of work. Of course, since it's ITX, it's hard to, cable manage everything the way that it needs to be.
True.
But I feel that there's just, a lot of work that could have done. First thing I'm going to say right off is definitely modular power supply. Would you agree with me?
Definitely. If you're going to do a mini ITX mini ITX rig, you're going to want to go modular or at least semi-modular, because if you don't do any of those two, you're going to have a bunch of cable cluster, and it's going to obstruct airflow that's really really important.
Yeah, because as you can see, there's just those those couple Molex pins down at the bottom corner, and it's just that huge mass of wires, and I think that could have all been fixed greatly if it just had a modular power supply and remove that optical drive. Who uses an optical drive?
Well, some people still use optical drives.
I just can't imagine that optical media is still a thing. Because, imagine, if that optical drive wasn't there, at least what I'm imagining
is there actually a drive in the drive cage? Oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah, okay, so there is a drive. Wait, a hard drive or an optical drive?
There's an optical drive. The hard drive. The hard drive's right there next to the motherboard.
Yeah. If he had just taken that optical drive out, since, nobody really needs to use it much anymore, or I would have gotten an external one. An external one would have been a lot better. You would have had more place to put the cables.
Yeah, optical drives are slowly becoming legacy technology. If you ever do decide to get an optical drive, because you may need one for anything important that still uses a disk, get an external one. They're not terribly expensive. They're not. I wouldn't say they're terribly cheap, but they're not that expensive at all.
Yeah, and I feel that, I feel like those cables are just, I feel like they're almost touching the heatsink on the processor. Yeah,
that's not really a good idea.
Yeah, because if you look, they're really super close. And this case has pretty decent cable management. You just really need that modular power supply. Zip ties. Zip ties are your friend.
Yes, they are. I've seen a build with this exact case, and, well, he, of course, used a modular power supply. He used a fully modular power supply. And, I see a lot of zip ties everywhere, but he kept it so clean. He kept it at the top, and right at the top brace there, he used a lot of zip ties. I wish I could find that build, because it was just a beautiful rig for a mini ITX system, especially in this case. I mean, it was just remarkable. I would have kissed that man for doing such a wonderful job. And
is this the Elite 110, or is this the shorter version of it? It looks a lot like the Elite 110 to me.
Oh, yeah, it probably is. I don't know. It's in the parts. It is the Elite 130.
Okay. So it is the scrunched down version of the case.
Yeah. You can also tell by the power supply sticking out the back.
But yeah, links to all these builds will be listed down in the description box. And I think the one thing that kind of bugs me the most is the fact that he's got a case, an overclockable processor, and a Z97 board, and he's still using a stock cooler.
I can tell you right now, he's not going to be doing any overclocking with this rig. It's just
no, the airflow is too bad. I mean,
it's terrible.
If he can figure out a way to manage those cables, like I say, remove the optical drive. You know, that's one less power cable, and that's one less SATA cable that you now have running in your system. But now you can actually use that space up in top of the drive cage and use that as a place to hold your cables. And I think with that, you'd be able to move your airflow a lot more, and you would be able to do some overclocking.
Yeah, you could easily fit it in the CPU cooler, no problem.
Yeah, cause same. I think Cooler Master makes especially Noctua. They make a lot of really good low profile, low profile ones, and yeah, I think like if he just fixed up the cables, removed the optical drive, and utilized more zip ties, and replaced the stock cooler with an aftermarket cooler, he would have a pretty badass system. Because he's also got a 970 in this thing, which is pretty cool.
That's right.
Or
it's surprisingly how actually big this case is in person, because it's a surprisingly large graphics card.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that you can pack so much in so little, and
even in some of the comments section said he could have easily gotten an aftermarket cooler.
Well, I mean, it's kind of true.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, it doesn't really seem like enough room, although he's kept the cables very neatly bunched up in front of the power supply, so it's not hovering over the heatsink, so he could fit in a pretty good aftermarket cooler on it.
I'm also not really following like the color scheme he's got going on for this build, because he's got blue, he's got red in the motherboard, he's got red SATA cables.
Well, for this build, I don't think it would matter since it's an enclosed system. There's no window, it's just kind of there. He probably went for the cheaper parts, regardless of the color.
True, but imagine like someone walks into his place and they see like this really tiny PC, and people aren't used to seeing PCs that much, so you go and you open it up real quick to show it inside, and then it's just a clusterfuck of cables.
Yeah.
As a showpiece and as a way to to make it look better. I think a color scheme would have also been nice, because you notice like he's got blue RAM, he's got blue accents on the motherboard, he has a blue SATA cable and a red SATA cable, and he's just got like different colored parts. And I think overall it would have been a lot nicer if the parts had matched colors. Gigabyte.
Yeah, I would pretty much agree with that.
So you want to move on to the next build? I feel like we've given everything.
Let's
that we
move
can
on
say
to
about
the
this.
next build.
All right.
We've given him enough criticism. Oh my. We got ourselves a budget PC, boys.
Yep. This is a extreme budget PC.
He uses the same exact power supply. How about that?
Do you want to start first with this one?
I guess. This PC isn't terrible. He's got a fan at the bottom. I know you don't like that.
No, I'm not a fan of the bottom mounted
what
fans.
case is this? I haven't reviewed this beforehand. Came unprepared.
It's the NZXT Tempest 410.
How have I never seen this case before? Oh well. NZXT is very good with cable management cases, as you can see.
Yeah.
In the back. There's plenty of cable management room, so I don't know if there's enough excuse for those two wires at the front that look like they're powering the motherboard or the CPU portion.
Yeah, that's the CPU power.
Yeah. I don't find that acceptable to run. I know it's minuscule and it's not going to obstruct airflow that much, but it's just ugly looking.
Yeah, because I think aesthetics of your PC, especially if you're building one for a really low budget, I think being able to blow away people with the cable management and the cleanliness on the inside is definitely a winner. It's like, hey, look, I only had this amount of money, but look, it looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of builds on PC Part Picker, especially that show a lot of budget builds. There's some really impressive ones where people take professional pictures of them, and I found one that was just amazing. It was like $500, and they took professional photos, and the cable management was astounding. I didn't like the parts, but it's a budget rig. Budget rigs are pretty cool. I mean, you can see how powerful these PCs can be with such a little amount of money. Most console gamers that want to go over to PC complain about this issue because, you can't build a system for $500 that can compete with next gen or really right now current gen consoles. And yes, you can.
Yeah,
this PC right here
proves it. Proves you can build a PC for little to no money.
$61.
How much was it again?
$361.
Yeah, that's less than a console nowadays.
That is less than that's about $10 more than Xbox One, but about $40 less than a PS4.
Yeah, and 100% more functionality.
Take their ass. Look, he's got a 8320E, which is
it's a damn good processor for the price.
Yeah,
he got it only for $100 too. That's pretty impressive.
He got his motherboard for free, and his case. Although he probably recycled the case, but you see what you can accomplish if you get really good deals. Look at that graphics card. That's a really good graphics card, and for $100, that's even better.
Yeah, and I just wish he would have utilized the cutout for the 8-pin CPU power and run it behind the motherboard. Actually, come to look at it, it almost looks like the power cable is almost too short.
It probably is. That's probably why he didn't choose that, and I can completely understand because you had that problem before, didn't you?
Yeah, I definitely had that problem in my dad's PC, but the main difference between that is I was using a $20 power supply, which never fucking do, people, never. But that was a $20 power supply. This is an XFX power supply, and which makes me believe that there is still, slack on that cable. He just didn't want to run it behind the motherboard tray.
Believe it or not, this build actually has pretty exceptional cable management. It's very well done for, especially a PC with these horizontal drive cages. I really don't like that because it's very hard to manage cables with hard drives sticking out like that.
Yeah.
But it's actually not bad for this PC build. It's really the CPU power and the fan wires. I hate those wires. You want to do a quick DIY? Take a magic marker and paint those things, or color those black.
Yeah.
Blend in so well.
I'm going to give a pro tip. A best way, like if you have no choice of running your CPU power in front of the motherboard tray, run it underneath the graphics card. There is a perfect slot between the connecting bracket and the actual card itself to where you can weave the wire up straight into the CPU power, because that's what I did with my dad's PC. And you do that, it will look a hell of a lot cleaner, because now you have this cable just coming like right in front of your really nice graphics card, and it's just kind of blocking it. And a couple of zip ties on those SATA cables down there, like, making them into one strand versus just having two loose strands. I think that would have also made it look better, and it would keep the cables from accidentally potentially hitting the fan that you have mounted in the bottom, which I think is really, really stupid. I don't understand the point in mounting a fan in the bottom of the case.
Extra airflow. I mean, I can understand for extra airflow. The only reason why I would put a fan down there is if you cannot take out the drive cages, or it's one single, like this one is just one single drive cage with multiple mounts. And that, well, for this one, you really wouldn't need it because first off, he's only got 2 hard drives. You can have plenty of airflow flowing right above him. But if you have, vertical drive cages like most PCs do nowadays, where it's obstructing airflow and you can't take those drive cages out, then I would find it reasonable to put a fan at the bottom. But otherwise, it just kind of looks ugly. It doesn't really. It's pretty unnecessary. This case actually, these parts do kind of get plenty of airflow, believe it or not.
Yeah, like if you have 2 fans in the front, and a fan in the back exhausting, you have plenty of airflow running through your system. And because your cable management is decent enough to allow really nice airflow over the CPU and the graphics card. One thing I really think that could have made a difference, because I noticed like with a lot of people, they don't really think outside the box with their PCs very much. And I almost feel like those hard drive cages weren't even needed. Like if he got rid of that optical drive, he could have put the hard drives up into the optical drive cage, which is what I have with mine. And I feel not only like if he had kept like, all the cables in a continuous strand up at the top, it would have looked a lot better than having just, cables here and then cables down below and then cables splitting in every which way. I feel if he just used a little bit more ingenuity, he could have made the system look extremely nice.
Yeah.
What do you think about the 1-sticker RAM?
1 sticker?
The 1-sticker RAM. Like he's only got one
RAM. RAM. Oh well. I mean, when it comes to performance, 2 is always better than 1, especially with something with like 4 slots. If it's mini ITX, obviously you would at least go with 1 because that would be equivalent with 2 if you had 4 slots.
Yeah. I think you definitely should have gone with a 2x4 gig kit instead of a 1x8.
One that uses performance and bandwidth, and 2 it just aesthetically looks better. Plus, in terms of price, 1 stick is technically cheaper, but 2 isn't terribly expensive.
It's not too much over, and the performance increase would be worth it since you're running in dual channel.
Yeah, you really won't really notice performance, so to speak. Maybe if you did like something that uses a lot of RAM power, you may notice a difference in performance. But if you're just doing normal gaming, or say just surfing the internet, doing homework, whatnot, you're not going to notice any difference. So it's really just fine. But for aesthetic purposes, even though he doesn't have a window, I'd always go for 2. Always go for 2.
Yeah.
It's much better to go for 2.
So I think we should get down into final verdict of this one. The couple things I want to say, remove your optical drive. Move your hard drives up into your optical bay. Secure them with Velcro. The beauty of Velcro is that not only does it secure your drives in place, but it also reduces the vibration, so it's not being transferred to your case like the standard hard drive brackets will. 2, they're up out of the way. 3, move your CPU power underneath your graphics card. And 4, utilize zip ties.
Yeah, zip ties are going to be your friend. Also, just one more thing to point out about the fan at the bottom. Mm-hmm. Those cables are obstructing airflow, so that fan is practically useless at the moment.
That's true. They are just blowing
straight up in. The second you get cable ties and move those cables out of the way, yeah, you'll get a little more airflow. But right now, that fan is pretty much useless.
Yep.
Just saying.
So I feel if they do all of these things, they will actually have a pretty badass system. Because like you said, their cable management is actually really decent.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
It's not
especially for a non-modular power supply. I mean, he did a very good job hiding those clusters of cables.
I feel like he has cables hiding underneath those hard drives.
Probably, but that's totally fine as long as they're not.
Yeah, but that's just where I'm thinking he's hiding the cables at.
Shall we move on to the next rig?
All right, let's move on to the final rig, which I have actually lost the link. Good thing I posted it to you.
Good job. Nice going.
All right. So this is
this rig.
the final system. Since this is the one that Spencer picked out, I'm going to let him introduce this rig and tell him why we chose it to showcase this one.
Well, I chose it because it looks nice, obviously. They did a very, very good job with cable management. You can see that with the quality of parts, they spent quite a lot of money on this. Although, believe it or not, that 295X2 that he has right there is a bargain right now. If any of you have $600 to $700 that you want to spend on a graphics card, buy this card. This card is so amazing, it's not even funny. It even outperforms the Titan Z, believe it or not, because it's liquid cooled. It's factory overclock. It's actually a very wonderful card. It's got a lot of 4K support too, but because this card went for retail when it came out for $1,500 to compete with the Titan Z, which was $3,000.
Jeez, yeah,
and it was pretty ridiculous.
Which I think was funny is that the Titan Z was $3,000, but the Titan X is only $1,000 again.
Yeah, and they both have the same, frame buffer of 12 gigs. Yeah. Obviously, you would want to go with a Titan X if you ever tried to do that, because a single card is always better than a dual GPU card, like maybe this one, because dual GPU cards usually suffer from a lot of SLI or crossfire, depending on which brand you get. But moving on from that, this case, I don't know what to think about this case. It doesn't have a lot of mounting places. I'm not a big fan of front-mounted radiators. Yeah. Especially closed-loop systems like this one right here. It just doesn't look good.
Yeah, it seems like that but if I remember correctly, I think the H100i would fit in the top of the S340.
Well, there's no dual radiator mount. It's just a single.
Oh, there isn't?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the reason why all these cases have the front radiator mounted like that, or any dual radiator is mounted on the front. So I was like, why did you do that, N60? Hello?
I almost wonder if this build started out this good, or it was just kind of like a gradual progression.
It's a very good question. Usually something that is worth a lot of money is gradual progression, but
yeah, because I know mine didn't start out in the way it was. It was definitely a gradual progression, getting part by part. So it's possible he started off with the S340 and then really had no intentions at that moment in going into the liquid coolers.
Yeah.
But for all I know, I could be wrong, and this is the way he wanted it. But I do think that the front-mounted radiators definitely look funny, since now you have your hoses stretching all across your case.
Yeah.
That's really only the bad thing I could say about this. This is almost showing a system done right. Kind of nice that he's got 2 SSDs. I imagine he's got them in potentially a RAID 0.
Potentially, yeah. I would. Also notice that he took off the stickers on the front, or he placed them upside down. If he took out the stickers, he just voided his warranty, because it tells you not to do that.
Yeah. Are you talking about the back of the graphics card or the SSD?
The SSDs.
Oh.
Yeah. Although I'm pretty sure the same thing with graphics cards. I didn't have a sticker on my graphics card, believe it or not. I know you have one.
Mine's still on there. Oh yeah,
I remember seeing yours.
Still there.
Yeah, that was good. But this rig is there's not much to say. The RAM is very pretty.
I like that he changed out the fan on the graphics card radiator to the Corsair ones.
Oh yeah.
Those look a lot better, and he's got a nice theme. Look how the graphics card has that nice underglow underneath it, and then the top is all white. So it's kind of got this 2-layer thing. The graphics card is big enough to almost separate the PC in its entirety. So it's almost like it got 2 levels, red where all the serious action is, and then white where everything else. I think that's kind of cool. And he's got sleeved cables. That's always a win.
Yeah, sleeve cables, if you can afford them, go for it. They just look so much better than colored cables or black cables. Plus, they're sometimes easy to work with. How do you like about the waterfall method of cables in the NZXT cases? I noticed that they did that on purpose.
What do you mean, like what waterfall method?
Like the cables of the GPU. Kind of have like this waterfall method.
Oh.
Of cable management.
I like it when it's done right. This one almost feels like it was done not so right. Because like if you look at all the I feel a couple, cable combs that you can get from Lutro or on Amazon would have done really nicely. Or just a zip tie, just kind of keeping the ones at the top flowing down straight, because they're all kind of twisted in every which direction. And I think they could have easily been fixed with a zip tie or a cable comb.
Yeah. At first, I didn't like really the waterfall method of kind of NZXT cases forcing people to do this, because you have that hole there for a reason.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, it doesn't really look that great, but after you look at several builds, more and more builds, it grows onto you. It's kind of like some cars. You may think they're ugly when they first come out as a concept, but slowly as time progresses, it just grows on you and you begin to like it. Yeah. So I kind of digging that kind of waterfall method. I think it's looking pretty cool.
Like I said, it kind of all depends on whether or not if that person is doing it right, and I feel that they're doing it right enough to pull it off. I don't like that I can see the connector in the bottom. Like I feel if he had just pulled it just a little bit more a little bit more tight, the connector would have been hidden away. Because if you look at it, you can clearly see where it's connecting into. Oh, maybe not. No, I switched over to the other picture and the cable's all looped down. So excuse me. Never mind. This first picture is a little bit misleading because it looks like a connector. If you see it from the way that the picture shows it.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Never mind. That's a pass. Yeah. All in all, I really think this is a very solid system.
I think it's really good. I think you did a very, very good job. Cable management.
Where's the front panel?
10 of 10. Front panel? Oh, did you take it off?
Yeah, in one of the pictures, the front panel is
yeah,
gone.
he took the front panel. Yeah. Front panel is just a plain, flat face with a slit on the right side for airflow. It's not a very good case for airflow, in my opinion. I know some people just don't like grills in the front. I prefer grills because, one, they help with airflow, and two, get some colored fans. It looks pretty cool.
Yep.
You can really do a cool color scheme if you wanted to. I mean, you can turn any crappy PC into a very nice looking PC.
How do you think an LED fan would have looked on that back radiator?
On his GPU?
Yeah. Like, I'm kind of in the air. Like, I'm thinking, like, an LED fan would have been cool, but it might have been overdoing it a bit if he added an LED fan.
I think it would be overdoing it a little bit because the LEDs make enough lighting as it is.
It's true.
LED fan would just be redundant. Yeah. I think it would be fine with just this. I could look at this all day if I wanted to.
Yeah, that is a really nice system. I wish this case had the same etching that the H440 does.
Mm-hmm.
Where it says NZXT. I wish that one had this. I think it would have made that look even better. But I definitely have to say kudos to the person for picking out this case. Almost just for the mere fact that it doesn't show the power supply.
Yeah. NZXT makes really awesome cases. They make very, very good cases. And their recent cases are very good at hiding the power supplies and cables. cable management on the NZXT cases are phenomenal.
Well, so we want to get into final verdict?
I give it a 10 of 10.
I'm gonna have to give this.
It's a great case. I mean, build.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give this one. I'm gonna have to give it a 8.5 out of 10, just for the fact that I wish the radiator wasn't front mounted. If there was a way to get around that, I wish that would have. And as the roommate walks up, yeah, I forgot to go to the ATM.
Well, we need to go now because Omar about to be here.
All right.
That's the whole point of getting that 20.
All right. Let me just finish up my show real quick. So I feel cable comb would have helped that out. Find another way to mount the radiator. Maybe would have upgraded the case to something else because I don't like the nigga. Get off my show. I don't like the front mounted radiators, and otherwise I'm digging everything else. There's a couple little things that could have been tweaked up. Like, why doesn't he have sleeved cables on the 24-pin power connector? Like, he's got them on the graphics card, but he doesn't have them on the power. I think that's like, it's literally like less than a $10 cable, and he could have done it super easily. And the fact that he hasn't is kind of weird.
Right now, it's just minimalistic enough to where you don't really need it. It doesn't show too much. The only thing that kind of gets me is that fat SATA cable. It sticks out like a sore thumb to me.
Yeah, I was just looking
I can't get over
that.
looking at that thing. Like, I know there's not. Well, this motherboard has. No, that's not a SATA cable. That's the USB 3.0 cable. Oh, there's not really much you can do about that.
No.
They do have braided cables of 3.0 cables, but they're not worth it. So,
yeah.
Honestly, I mean, if you could kind of even it up so it's not diagonal like that, maybe. Yeah. There's not anything you could do about that. That's kind of the cases and the motherboard's fault for putting it. Which I give kudos to MSI for 90-degree USB 3 ports.
Yep. So I think I'm gonna have to say that all around these builds were all pretty good. They just need some work on their cable management and maybe thinking outside the box, giving their PC a bit of personality. Like the last one. The last one, to me, I can tell that he's a clean and simple person.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, guys, that was the pilot episode to Save My Rig. If you all liked it, be sure to leave us a comment telling us if you want to see more of this. And be sure to subscribe for more episodes. And I want you all to have a fabulous day. We will see you all in the next one.